Global FinTech Fest, where we had the RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das giving a speech.
Chris Gopal Krishnan, members of the organizing team, dignitaries present in the audience, CEOs of banks, NBFCs and fintech companies and their other executives, members of media, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to participate in the 5th edition of the Global FinTech Festival, GFF. I would like to congratulate the organizers, the NPCI, the PCI, and the FCC for bringing together diverse stakeholders from the fintech ecosystem, including fintech innovators and companies, banks, NBFCs, regulators, and others for this year's GFF. This event has grown into a much-awaited fixture in the calendar of not just the fintech industry, but also of the broader technology ecosystem. The GFF indeed represents a true melting pot of ideas where innovative concepts and diverse perspectives come together with potential to shape the digital future of our country and especially the financial sector. Concepts and diverse perspectives come together with potential to shape the digital future of our country and especially the financial sector. It also provides a unique opportunity to align our goals and strategies to ensure that the fintech ecosystem continues to grow dynamically and sustainably. India is now a fast-growing economic powerhouse with an increasingly tech-savvy population. India's financial sector has witnessed a remarkable transformation driven, among other factors, by the fintech sector. Publicly available information places the number of fintech founded in India at approximately 11,000. The sector has received investments of about $6 billion in the last 2 years alone. In my address today, I propose to highlight 3 major aspects. First, setting the priorities for India at 100. Second, technologies for the future. And third, the regulatory architecture for fintechs. I would like to begin by the first part of the first theme which I wish to highlight, that is setting the priorities for India at 100. As you know, India will reach 100 years of its independence in 2047, and that's what I mean when I say India at 100. I would like to begin by quoting Mahatma Gandhi, who had said, "The future depends on what we do in the present." Therefore, as we proceed in our journey towards the centenary of India's independence in 2047, it would be essential to reflect and imagine the future of our financial landscape, its requirements, and the technologies that will shape it. This journey will be marked by dynamic shifts in technology, regulation, geopolitics, and growing societal expectations. The financial sector is experiencing rapid digitalization and innovation. While all of us strive to enhance financial inclusion, optimize digital payments, and harness emerging technologies like blockchain and artificial intelligence, we also confront the inherent unpredictability and interconnectedness of the global financial system. In this environment, developing a mindset that anticipates disruption and embraces change with prudence becomes very, very important. Financial institutions and fintech startups alike must therefore adapt swiftly, leveraging agile strategies and robust frameworks to capitalize the new opportunities while mitigating the connected risks. It's up to the stakeholders in the Indian financial ecosystem, banks, non-banks, fintechs, regulators, and the government to foster innovation with resilience. While the fintech ecosystem is ushering in much needed personalization and contextualization of finance for consumers, the context needs to be broadened to build a financial system that serves the broader society. To achieve these, we wish to propose the following 5 policy priorities for the future of India's financial system. The first policy priority would be digital financial inclusion. As a policy priority, financial inclusion should ensure that everyone has appropriate access to financial services. The Reserve Bank's Financial Inclusion Index, which we launched in 2021 and which measured 53.9 in March 2021, has gone up to 64.2 in March 2024. So from 53.9 in 2021 March, it has gone up to 64.2 to this year's, that is March 2024. As a country, we have succeeded in ensuring banking access to every village within a 5-kilometer radius or a hamlet of 500 households in hilly areas. So far, 530 million Jan Dhan accounts have been opened under a national mission. And incidentally, as I am speaking to you, the Jan Dhan scheme of the government has completed 10 years since its establishment, and its progress is there before all of us to see. Initially, the apprehension was that all these accounts will be zero balance accounts and there will be no activity, there will be no sort of transactions taking place through such financial accounts. But I think the experience over the last 10 years has completely belied such apprehensions, and today there are 530 million Jan Dhan accounts, most of it, in the name of women, and many of it in the name of women, and the total savings bank savings in these accounts, I don't recollect the number, but it is a huge amount. And I have to also mention that of the Jan Dhan accounts, 66% of the accounts have been opened in rural and semi-urban areas, and 55% with women beneficiaries. While significant strides have been made in expanding financial inclusion, the evolving landscape demands a shift towards digital financial inclusion. That is, promoting secure and digitally enabled financial services and products for the financially excluded and underserved population. Digital financial inclusion has the unique advantages of scalability and cost effectiveness. Accordingly, the next 2 decades will predominantly be about leveraging technology to deliver accessible and tailored financial services that meet diverse needs. In the pursuit of digital financial inclusion, fintechs may strive to offer innovative and accessible.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.